strokes. So you'll notice that there is an icon that looks like a line that's changing in weight. See how it looks like it's a thin line, then it became a medium line, then it became a thick line. That is the stroke panel, okay? So one of the things that I love about the stroke panel is that at first, it looks really simple. You see how it looks really simple? So one of the things that I advise my students, whenever you see a panel and you see this little icon out here, have I talked about this icon? No, good, I'm glad I haven't. I call this icon the hamburger. It's the hamburger icon, okay? So whenever you see a hamburger icon, click on it. And if you see this term, show options, turn it on. Okay, let's see what happens to the stroke panel. Holy smokes, there's a lot more options. And that's the point. You want to see all of the options that you're potentially going to work with. Okay, so I'm going to draw an ellipse, and I'm just going to make it the default black and white. Default black and white. Okay, now, and I'm also going to draw a star. Draw a star. And I'm also going to draw a straight line. A straight line. Okay, so check out the straight line, everybody. Okay, so I have a change the. Okay. So this path right here, is it open or closed? This path right here, is it open or closed? This path right here, open or closed? Open. This is an open path. There's an end on either side. Okay, so the reason I'm bringing this up is that the stroke panel, what you see will change depending on some of the features that we work with. Okay, so let me zoom in a little bit. I'm going to select all three of them. All right, so let's start at the top. So the first thing that I can change with my stroke is the weight. And that's how thick or thin a line or an object is. If you ever take a design class, like a design theory class, a big variable or attribute that you can change to change the meaning of something is the weight of a line. So this changes the weight of the line. So if I make it thinner or thicker, it changes how you perceive it. Okay, so that's the weight, and it's set to points. Oops, let me select all of them again. Okay, the next thing that I have is called a cap. A cap. But a cap only affects an open path. It only affects an open path. Watch. So check out the straight line. See, there's the cap. So by default, you have a butt cap, and then you can have a round cap, and this is called a projecting cap. That's the normal cap. The next thing that I have is a corner. So does this circle have a corner? Does this have a corner? This one does, right? So that's the only object that will be affected by it. So this will change your corners from what's called a miter to a round to a bevel. Miter, round, and bevel. Right? The next one is the stroke alignment. And this is actually a relatively newer feature in Illustrator. It appeared a few years ago in Creative Cloud. So if you use CS6, this may not be available to you. I don't remember, but I know it's relatively newer. So this is a line stroke at the center. So check it out. You'll notice that the stroke is the same distance on the outside as it is to the inside, right? But when I go align the stroke on the inside, it pushes the stroke to the inside of the path. If I go align the stroke on the outside, it pushes the stroke to the outside of the path. So you'll notice it does change the way the shape is described. It influences it, all right? Here's point, outside, inside, center, right? The next thing that I have is called a dash. And the dash has what's called a dash gap pattern. Dash gap pattern. So when I activate this, you'll notice it it puts dashes on the object. Right now, if I type in 2, it's going to have a different gap orientation. So you can create patterns by changing the dash gap settings. Okay, let me turn that off. The next thing that I have are arrowheads. Arrowheads. So arrowheads basically apply a graphical element on one end of the shape and the opposite end. Okay, so this works better clearly with an open path versus a closed path, right? And then you can also scale how big the arrowheads are relative to the line. And then you can also say, see how the arrowhead, the point of the arrowhead is at the end of the line? You can also change that so it projects out. So it's either in the path or outside of the path projecting. Right? And then the last feature that I want to show you here is what's called a profile. A profile. And I think profiles are really powerful because they take simple objects and make them more elaborate. They change the gesture of the line. So it makes it look more ornate and makes it look more calligraphic. So the profiles, I think, are really an important and powerful feature in the software. So once again, weight, cap, corner, arrowheads, and profiles. Now, when you select an object, you basically have 5 of these features when you first select an object. You have the stroke color, so that's what this is. And then you have the weight, and then you have the profile. So all of these are here for you to work with right off the top of the bat.